The idea of building the engineering corps of the Ministry of Roads and Highways, which is its official name, came about in 1967, when the order to allocate the land was issued. Architect Giorgi Chakhava was an employee at the ministry. He was both the chief architect and deputy minister. And this is quite a significant fact in the history of this building, since Giorgi Chakhava's position as both customer and executor greatly contributed to actualizing the entire project. It is also noteworthy that Zurab Jalaghania was co-author of the project, and in addition, 2 engineers worked with them, whose contribution was extremely important for implementing this project. The site was chosen by Mr. Giorgi Chakhava, who sought a territory on the edge of the city that was not burdened by other architectural structures. It is also mentioned in several of Chakhava's works that his main inspiration was the Georgian landscape, nature and forests in general, where the trees are raised above the ground and their branches or twigs develop horizontally, leaving a space between the axis and the branches. He wanted the building to occupy less space on the ground and to be raised up in the air. His concept was successfully carried out. The work on the project lasted for about 5 years. Its construction began in 1972 and was completed in 1975. In 1976, this building began functioning and living. In 2007, it was the first such building of the period of Soviet modernism to be awarded the status of cultural heritage. This project evokes special emotions in me because such precise harmony with nature and the landscape was very rare at the time. Correct alignment with the terrain was executed. They took up minimal space on the ground and developed the whole building according to its net function, which for me, as an architect, is the main task. When you design a building in an environment, the most important thing is probably harmony with its surroundings. The 3 main values of major importance to me as an architect are the correct harmony of the architecture with nature and determining the function of the client in such way that the architecture expresses the function of the building. The 3rd value is the fact that by minimal contact with the ground, the author managed to construct this large and imposing building in such way that he did not come into conflict with nature, but on the contrary was in harmony with it. The best example in architecture is probably this building, which is still talked about today. An exhibition dedicated to the architecture of this period, Transformation in Modern Architecture, was held in New York's Museum of Modern Art, where a photo of his building was exhibited. Interestingly, the author was not indicated. Years later, Mr. Chakhava received a letter from Arthur Drexler, the curator of the exhibition, who told him that he has been searching for the author of this building for many years. As it turned out, he had applied to the Central Union of Architects in Moscow, but could not obtain any information about the building. It is of great significance that this work deserved such high appreciation, though nobody knew who the author was. The project was implemented in Georgia, in a peripheral republic, not in the center. It wasn't done in Moscow or St. Petersburg or in any Russian city. It took place in Georgia, and maybe out of envy, they didn't want to reveal the identity of the architect. Soon after this, the information about the building was published in many newspapers, Japanese magazines, the Italian publication Dumos, and so on. This project is internationally recognized and considered to be an extremely important monument and a world architectural landmark. In 2007-08, the Bank of Georgia purchased it as the head office and began to renovate or adapt it. Giorgi Chakhava left a letter describing how the maintenance of the building should be carried out, and his requirements were taken into consideration as much as possible.
We started working on the project together with the author and Zurab Jalaghania. And the most significant factor was that in the Soviet years, its function was quite different. When the bank bought it, and it was supposed to be their head office, it made things difficult because about 1,000 people had to move into the building. This structure is so unique, standing as it is on 3 towers, that the Japanese displayed it in their books as Japanese metabolism. What is metabolism? It is the development of small forms in space, almost like a tree. For this reason, there was very little contact with the ground. We discovered an old basement here, and we argued about how we could enter the building without loading these towers. The concept of the cube started during this very discussion. When we talked to Mr. Zurab, we suggested protracting the perimeter of one tower, as if a new volume should appear here at some point. We entered the building and used this concept in the interior, exactly the same metabolism that the authors had used at the time. Here too, you can see that the floor goes over the wall. Stone, carpet, and many other things are built exactly according to this concept from beginning to end. We entered the building and realized that it was architecturally and structurally unique for that time. It was 1975. It is difficult to construct such buildings even today. And at that time, during the Soviet Union, it was rather problematic and risky to erect such a large and ambitious construction. The first time when we got here, we realized the uniqueness of this building.
There is no analogy of this building. It is a unique building, and the Georgian people are proud to have it. We hope that this building will serve as a landmark on the world architectural map.